Does this look like a manatee? Have you ever been scared by a manatee? Hi Fae folk, today we're going to learn about Mamba Mutu, the crocodile man, a cryptid that is definitely not a manatee or an otter. This is part 7 in a series where I talk about all the merfolk of Africa, so if you know any African merfolk you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments or on Twitter. Before we dive into Lake Tanganyika to meet the blood-sucking Mamba Mutu, please like and subscribe. Most viewers are not subscribed, and subscribing really helps the channel. Okay, you finished liking and subscribing? Let's go to Lake Tanganyika. This lake is said to be Mamba Mutu's home. Mamba Mutu are freshwater merfolk, and within my categorization system, they fall into the category of animal hybrid fairies. Eventually, I hope to create videos for all the fairies on Earth, as well as putting all the information on a website. I'm still working on the website part though. I hope to have it ready soon-ish. But enough about that. Y'all came here to learn about Mamba Mutu, the crocodile man of Lake Tanganyika in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Lake Tanganyika is the second largest freshwater lake by volume and the second deepest, second only to Russia's Lake Baikal, which y'all may remember is also haunted by mysterious merfolk. I talk about Lake Baikal in my 100 subscriber mermaid video. Lake Tanganyika is also the world's longest freshwater lake. All of this means that it is the ideal place for a merbeing to hide. So, could a blood-drinking creature be lurking beneath the lake's waters? Perhaps. Mamba Mutu means crocodile man in Swahili. They're described as having arms similar to those of a lobster, a fish-like tail, and a humanoid head. They drink blood, often the blood of children, and eat brains, similar to last month's freshwater octopus. They are given offerings at the water's edges in the hopes of appeasing them, and may kill those who don't show proper respect for the lake. For reasons that make no sense to me, some have attempted to explain away this legend by claiming that Mamba Mutu are misidentified manatees. Manatees? The sweet, slow-moving potatoes? That does not make sense to me. No one would describe a manatee as a crocodile man. No one. Also, they are herbivores and obviously do not drink blood or eat brains. Additionally, manatees favor the coastal marine water, brackish estuaries, lagoons, rivers, tributaries, and lakes that connect to the sea, and Lake Tanganyika is very far from the ocean. So while I'm not saying that Mamba Mutu is definitely real, I highly doubt manatees are the cause of the myths. Otters are also mentioned, but similarly don't really fit. There is another animal living in Lake Tanganyika that might be the cause of the myths though, the Goliath tigerfish. I will be drawing inspiration from this animal when I design my own hypothetical Mamba Mutu. Both creatures have mouths full of sharp teeth. And crocodiles do live in and around the lake. In fact, the famous man-eating crocodile Gustav lives in the area. Some sources say he's dead, while others believe he may still be alive, hiding in the shadows. Gustav may have eaten as many as 300 people, and he is nearly 20 feet long and weighing approximately 2,000 pounds, making him the largest crocodile in Africa. For reference, Nile crocodiles are typically 14 to 16 feet long. All of this information is relevant because it tells us that not only do monsters like Gustav really exist, but also that Lake Tanganyika can support and hide deadly predators. It can sometimes seem like the world is well understood and there are no secrets hiding out in the wild parts of the world, but that's far from the truth. Every year, 18,000 new species are discovered, and not all of these animals are tiny. The giant squid, which can grow up to 59 feet long, wasn't observed in the wild until 2004. That's only 20 years ago. Compared to how long we've observed other animals in the wild, that's a very short span of time. And in 2024, a 2-foot-long, 441-pound anaconda was discovered in Ecuador. That's massive. Point is, there's still so much we do not know about the Earth. So many amazing creatures could still be out there, like Mamba Mutu. So what is Mamba Mutu? Speculative biology time. Mamba Mutu live in Lake Tanganyika, presumably very deep in the lake, to avoid detection by humans. For this reason, I have put them in the order Homo ichthys, meaning human fish in Latin and Greek. However, because the story suggests that the cryptids never leave the lake, I think that they breathe water, unlike the Nomo and Zen, who breathe both air and water like lungfish. There are no stories of Mamba Mutu leaving the lake, as far as I can tell, so Mamba Mutu has gills and no nose, but their faces are humanoid. They have large black eyes for seeing underwater, and mouths full of pointed teeth. The big black eyes make them similar to my designs for Nereidolodocus, Matabele, Nomo, and Zen. Whale eyes are only about 50% bigger than human eyes in relation to body size, so while Mamba Mutu's eyes are big, they're still small enough to fit the humanoid face description. Do they really drink blood though? And do they prefer children? As for the second question, opportunistic hunters often prey on children because they're smaller and weaker. Additionally, children are less cautious than adults, so they are more likely to be eaten than adults. Also, this aspect of Mamba Mutu is likely exaggerated to encourage children to stay away from the dangerous lake. As for the blood drinking, they probably feed in a way similar to sea lampreys, latching onto their prey with their pointed teeth, secreting an enzyme that prevents blood from clotting, and then sucking blood and other bodily fluids out of their victim. So in my drawing, the Mamba Mutu is shown with a huge mouthful of teeth, like the Goliath tigerfish. So, if you were disappointed that my freshwater octopus didn't actually drink blood, well, this creature does. Does this technically make them a type of vampire? They may also eat brains, or rather suck out fluids from the brain. They don't have outer ears, and their ears are configured to hear underwater, but it's likely they have echolocation as well. Given that Mamba Mutu means crocodile man, I assume that the merbeing must look crocodilian, so I've given my Mamba Mutu crocodile-like scales and coloration. On to the lobster arms. Lobsters are not native to Congo, but there are lobsters in Africa. I could not determine how old the story of Mamba Mutu is, but the Swahili people could have known about lobsters through trade, or if the story is more modern, just know what lobsters look like. Alternatively, if this description comes from a Western cryptozoologist, then they are the ones making the lobster comparison. Either way, I've drawn Mamba Mutu with classic lobster arms. Interestingly, not all lobsters have these types of arms. In Africa, there are several lobster species that do not have the lobster claws we typically think of. The Cape lobster that lives off of the coast of South Africa does, however, and that is what I've modeled my lobster claws off of, simply because I think that is likely what is meant by the descriptor lobster arms. The lower body is based on the tail of the crocodile to fit with the name's meaning, crocodile man. Although the name has the word man in it, I'm interpreting this to mean mankind or human. Mamba Mutu have both males and females and crocodilian sexual dimorphism. Both sexes hide their genitals within their cloacas. Males grow to be larger than females in adulthood, again like crocodiles. Speaking of size, how big is Mamba Mutu? Although crocodiles are much larger than humans, and some merfolk are massive, and Lake Tanganyika is deep enough to hide giant merfolk, none of my sources mention Mamba Mutu's size, which makes me think they are likely human-sized. Now let's get into their life cycle. There isn't much we can glean from the existing lore, so I'm mostly going to be making this up as I go along. Life begins in the lake, hidden from prying human eyes. Crocodiles lay their eggs on land, which doesn't work for Mamba Mutu, who dwells in the lake. Instead, I turn to lobsters and learn that mother lobsters carry their eggs on their tails until they hatch. So perhaps this is what Mamba Mutu does. Side note, a lobster with eggs is said to be in berry, which I thought was an adorable way to describe baby lobster eggs. A female lobster can carry up to 8,000 eggs, but Mamba Mutu, an apex predator who only lives in one lake in the world, likely has far fewer eggs, as the population size is smaller and they have less predators, unlike lobsters. After hatching, Mamba Mutu goes through a larval stage. In other videos, I often talk about the possible culture of the given merfolk. In the case of Mamba Mutu, we are given no context about Mamba Mutu's intelligence and no clue as to whether or not they have human-level intelligence or are just animals. Mamba Mutu is an alpha predator and so is highly intelligent. But are they highly intelligent in the way that a crocodile is? Or are they hidden in the lake building civilizations? There's really no way to know. Share in the comments, how smart do you think Mamba Mutu is? So I don't know if they live in a human-level society where the larvae are protected, or do they live more like lobsters, or even somewhere in the middle, like with crocodiles, where parents may stay around and protect their young? The life of a Mamba Mutu is shrouded in mystery. As they grow to adulthood, they become hunters who drink the bodily fluids of their prey. They likely reach sexual maturity between 12 to 20 years of age, similar to crocodiles and lungfish. They reproduce in a manner similar to crocodiles, but unlike crocodiles, the fertilized eggs are attached to the female's tail with a glue-like substance, like lobster females. How long do they live though? Again, it's hard to guess. However, lobsters can live to be 100 years old, and Nile crocodiles live 50 to 60 years, so Mamba Mutu probably lives a long time. Lastly, let's talk scientific classification. I put Mamba Mutu into the order Homo ichthys, meaning manfish, and is the same order I put the Nomo and Zen into, but I create a new suborder for merfolk with gills called Branchia, meaning gill. The family is Sanguis, Latin for blood, a family for vampiric merbeings. The genus Homar refers to the lobster family Homaridae, which will be the genus for lobster-like vampiric merfolk, which honestly might just be Mamba Mutu. The species name is Homar suctus. Suctus is Latin for suck or suction. Editing fairy here. Reading merbeings got me thinking about the plausibility of a fish that has some primate traits, like my depictions of Mamba Mutu, Onagegi/Zen, and Nomo. I want to share a few animal facts to support the plausibility of this idea. This is a wolf eel. It's been said that their faces look like that of old men. Sheep's head fish have very human-like teeth. Images of this carp, whose markings make it look humanoid, are circulating the internet. And outside the ocean, you can find animals that appear remarkably like other animals despite not being related to them, such as mantid flies, which look like wasps but are not. This is a long-winded way of saying that maybe there could be a fish with a humanoid form. See you next time, Fae Folk. I've got another video on Native American mermaids coming out this month to celebrate Native American Heritage Month, and in December I have a ton of winter and Christmas themed content coming.